Many people see Australia as a world-class travel destination. It's pretty hyped up. It has a huge backpacking scene, and well, you've probably seen the pictures. Backpacking is the outdoor recreation of carrying gear on one's back, while hiking for more than a day. It's often, but not always, an extended journey and may or may not involve camping outdoors. A lot of people will even tell you it's a must-see place and should probably be on your bucket list. But it's about time we tell you the truth about the country. Australia is not all that, and this list will stop you from visiting the country if you plan on doing so. So let's look at 10 reasons not to visit Australia. Number 10. Sunburn. You might think that it's not that big of a deal, but you have to keep in mind that Australia is not much without its beaches. And as a tourist, you have to spend a lot of time outside. It's not a fairy tale that the sun is really fierce down under. This thing is not just hot, it'll burn your skin in a heartbeat. If you do visit, seriously, don't forget sunscreen. You'll suffer later, plus it's also pretty dangerous as there's little protection from the ozone layer in this part of the world. If you forget the sunscreen, you might want to ask around. The lifeguards will always supply you with some Sunblock 50. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works. Number 9. No real culture. Of course there is some culture, but if you plan on going to Australia and staying there for a longer time, you might not find anything there as the country is tasteless. There really isn't too much, to be honest. In general, there's not much culture to discover apart from the beach and barbecue culture, which is what most people love about Australia. But this is more of a lifestyle rather than something unique. A great lifestyle, we would admit, but it's almost a joke that the culture of Australia can be found in a fridge. Yes, we're talking about beer. Everyone there just wants beer. Number 8. Too many rules. Australia is a country with many rules, and according to Aussies, it's a good thing. If there would not be that many, it would be chaos, some say. But sometimes you get the feeling that the country is too regulated. It might only count for Sydney, but the lockout laws to close all pubs and clubs at 1:30 a.m. are the cherry on the cake regarding this. For the rest of the world, this is the main city and tourists must go there, and every tourist gets disappointed. No shots after midnight. You can't order more than 2 drinks at once unless everyone comes to the bar to make themselves noticed to the bar staff. What's more is that if you want to work in a bar, you have to pass a special alcohol course. You have to pay $130 and sit in a classroom for 6 hours, which is just crazy. People love Australia for how laid back it is, but hate it for its many rules. Number 7. You cannot go anywhere. Australia is a great country for travelers, but not for traveling. Traveling around is expensive, and the worst thing is that everything is just so far away from each other. Compared to its massive landmass, there are actually very few tourist attractions. Yes, the Great Barrier Reef is fabulous, and so is the Great Ocean Road, but they are 4 hours flying away from each other. That's like flying from Argentina to Panama. In Australia, there is Fraser Island, Byron Bay, Sydney, and Melbourne. If you take an extra flight, you'll get to Uluru. And no, not the Blue Mountains are not a touristy highlight. They are nice to see when you're bored on a Sunday when the train is only $2.50 to get there from Sydney. We don't want to sound too harsh, and we know these endless empty roads are reasons to love Australia for other people, just not for us. Number 6. Slow internet. Welcome to a third world country, because Australia's internet sucks big time. Your 4G connection is often not worth calling 4G as it's almost as slow as 2G. The internet in Asia is faster and more reliable. Even in Sydney, there are some places where you don't get any signal. That's probably because the country is just too big. And let's not start with the Wi-Fi. Coffee shops with no Wi-Fi? Yes, these places still exist. That's one of the main reasons to not visit this country. But even if there is Wi-Fi available, don't get too excited as it's often not worth connecting. If you're going for a couple of days, a portable Wi-Fi device that connects you to the internet wherever you go would be helpful. It's cheap, reliable, fast, and unlimited data for a few devices. Would you survive without the internet here? Tell us in the comments. Number 5. You just cannot understand their English. First of all, Aussies don't really want to speak to you. If you get lost, they'll send you in the wrong direction, probably towards water or trees, which are too dangerous, as we'll talk about later on. The people there are really ignorant, and probably the least friendly people in the world. If you approach one without being cautious, you're likely to get chased off while getting slapped around the face by one of their thongs. There's another thing, Aussie slang. You can't understand it, so you're just wasting your time trying to speak to an Aussie. Long story short, they speak English, which only aliens can understand. And well, Aboriginals are just as bad. If you don't know who they are, Aboriginals are the native indigenous people of Australia. If you get too close, expect to be speared. Number 4. It's so hot that you can't go outside in the day, even during winter. You've heard about how hot Australia is. It's one of the selling points. Apart from the fact that the entire country has melanoma, which is a type of skin cancer, the chances of surviving daytime heat are, well, 0. If you know anything about biology, you know that at a certain temperature, our bodies begin to break down and we keel over and die. Well, the sun in Australia is a catalyst for that and will just speed up the process. Sometimes in summer days, it gets so hot that even the sky appears to be on fire. Don't even think you'll manage to find snow here. Not even the mountains get snow. That means you have to cool off in the ocean or take cover beneath some trees. 3. You can't even afford to buy beer. Life in Australia is really expensive. The cost of living is higher than in most countries around the world. Yes, salaries are really good, but then again, you have to work hard to play hard. It's nothing quite like the Australian dream many youngsters think it is. How much you think the rent is per week? Guess in the comments. Traveling around is even more expensive, and expect to pay a lot of money for the best places to see in Australia. If you were thinking about just staying indoors and helping yourself to a nice cold bevy, well, think again. In Australia, the average beer will set you back $130. It doesn't matter what you drink. VB, Carlton Draught, 4X's, whatever, it's all ridiculous. Plus, you can't handle the alcohol content of it anyway. Australians have evolved super livers so that their bodies can handle the alcohol content. Even if you have German and Irish heritage combined, you probably still shouldn't take a chance. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it on a future video. This picture is of animals in Australia. Everything is just there to kill you. This one is common knowledge. 7 of the top 10 deadliest snakes in the world can be found in Australia. What about the spiders? Between redbacks and huntsmen, there's a pretty good chance of one of them finding you and wrapping you up nicely in their web. If you even think about going near the water, you're probably going to be eaten by a great white. If you don't, you'll at least lose a limb. Australia, being a great surfing destination, is actually a trick to get tourists into the water. If you opt out of going into the ocean and head for inland water, you're chancing an encounter with a crocodile. And let's not discount jellyfish. Box jellyfish are everywhere. They're so dangerous there are actual warnings to keep you out of the water completely. So don't even think about going in. Now we all know that these creatures are all dangerous, but what about fluffy kangaroos? Male kangaroos are built of pure muscle, with testosterone levels so high that all they want to do is kick you. And if they do, you're probably going to get seriously injured. They're sneaky and rarely seen, but that's because the survival rate of people that encounter them is so ridiculously low. 1. Gravity works backward in Australia. The thing is, because Australia is on the bottom side of the world, gravity works in the opposite direction. That means that the only way to avoid floating off to a sunburn is to get yourself anchored to the ground. If you don't believe us, you should check out some Australian planes. They actually have the wheels on top of the plane because they have to barrel roll and land in an awkward position. The winds there are just so fast that Aussies have put it to good use. Wind energy is one of their main sources of electricity generation. So that's our list of 10 reasons not to visit Australia. Would you still want to visit the country? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.